Coming up on today's show, would the Nuggets have beaten the Celtics if those two teams met in the finals? Are there any championship lessons the Nuggets can take from the Celtics? Also, a Zach Edey scouting report. Does he fit with Denver? And more roster envy. That's all coming up. We're officially in the offseason. Officially.
It's all over, Wind.
Officially.
Except for one agenda.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the DNVR Nuggets podcast. Wow, great air horn today.
Thanks,
great
man.
We are here in the Toyota Lounge. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Brought to you by your Front Range Toyota stores. Psyched to be here on this Tuesday. I'm Harrison Wind. That's Brendan Vogt.
What's up, man? What's up? I'm excited for the real offseason to start because there's nothing worse than thinking you're in the offseason, looking up and realizing other teams are still playing. I hate it so much. So it's good to be in the real offseason, Wind.
We got a lot to get to today. The Celtics were crowned NBA champions last night.
Noticed that.
That's segment one. I'm gonna ask Vogt how he's doing. Just get a nice mental welfare check on him. See how he's doing. Because I think you were going through it last night.
You're only saying that because of all the messages I sent you guys without anyone answering.
I wasn't even going to reveal the company Slack. I was just going to go through what you tweeted on the DNVR Nuggets account.
Oh, that too, yeah. Forgot which account I was on at one point.
I wasn't even going to reveal the private stuff.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk Zach Edey. Could he be a fit for the Nuggets?
Tall fella.
They need a backup center. He is mocked to go in the middle of the first round. And then finally, some more roster envy. I think we're doing the Southeast Division.
Yep. All right. Let's get into it.
The Hawks, the Wizards, the Hornets. Wow, that should be interesting.
Could be a quick segment.
First, though, Celtics, they won the NBA championship last night. A gentleman's sweep over the Dallas Mavs. Game 5, not really close. It was another blowout, like a lot of that series was. Celtics ended up winning it 4-1. Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP. We'll talk about that. Was Jason Tatum snubbed? I don't know. What's kind of your overall takeaway, though? Now that the series is over, the Celtics are NBA champions. The Nuggets, their time as reigning NBA champs is officially over. We can no longer say the Nuggets are reigning NBA champs, but what's your feeling now about the Celtics, about the season, wherever you want to go, now that we're officially done?
Truth be told, the Celtics were everything I said they weren't. Even when I thought they might be, I didn't want to admit that. I love being blinded by hate. I'll do it again next year. But they earned it. They were everything they said they were. And while it's still objectively true that the East was terrible and the run doesn't look like the hardest run of all time, all they can do is play the teams in front of them, and they beat nearly every single team every single night. And they were the best team in the league. And the truth is, Wind, sometimes special teams are led by special players. And this guy has caught in a lot of flack, I think, for his shot selection, for maybe at times being overrated. But I think we finally saw, like, winning basketball from this guy on both sides of the floor. So shout out to Jaylen Brown for Eastern Conference Finals MVP and Finals MVP. Congratulations. Way to lead your team to a championship, Jaylen Brown. They couldn't have done it without you. You are Mr. Celtic.
I was trying to figure out who you were going to name drop in there. I didn't know if you were going to go like Derek White or Drew Holiday or Jaylen Brown. But you went Jaylen Brown.
I didn't really think the feint was going to work. I think everyone knew what was coming. Tried my best to sell it. But look, Jaylen Brown finally did what was needed to win, and the Boston Celtics are champs. And truth be told, while it's the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life,
jeez,
they've earned it. They earned it. Well deserved. I hate every second of it,
man. I mean, my overall thoughts is it feels right. I like when the best team in the NBA wins the championship. That's something I love about the NBA. in the best of 7 format in the playoffs, the best team usually wins at the end. And I like that. I like how that's how the history of the NBA is written. And the Celtics were clearly, the best team game 1 to game 82 and then through the end of the playoffs this season. And honestly, they felt like the Nuggets did last season in terms of just like they were the best team all year long from the beginning of the regular season through the end.
Haters tried to deny it.
They walked through the playoffs. The Celtics went 16-3. The Nuggets went 16-4. So pretty similar levels of dominance there. And, in the end, I remember last year, like people that picked against the Nuggets just did so because they either didn't watch them or they had some vendetta against them or they had some inherent bias against them. I feel like the casual NBA commentator, analyst, if they were like really picking against the Celtics, it was kind of because of that.
Yeah.
They were the best team.
Yeah.
They had very little holes.
Yeah.
They were great offensively. They were great defensively. They have a great starting 5. They got star power. They're great on both ends of the floor. Their coach showed up and coached pretty well throughout this entire playoff run. So they're the deserving champs. It feels right that the Celtics won, and they were the best team this season.
I think that's well said, man. I picked against them because I didn't want them to win. Yeah. And that's what it was for me. And honestly, I think it was like that for a lot of people, to your point. Looking around, I was actually kind of flabbergasted and a little uncomfortable how popular the Celtics hate was. I like when it's me raging against the giant national media machine, but man, a lot of the actual national analysts picked Dallas, and it didn't seem like a lot of people wanted the Celtics to win, myself included. But the truth was, that whole organization, from Brad Stevens to Joe Mazzulla to their best player, Jaylen Brown, they all did what they had to do. Honestly, all the way down to their role players. Like Sam Hauser was unbelievable. Kyrie couldn't score on that guy one-on-one. And, Brad Stevens built the most complete roster in the league. They played the right way for most of the year. They answered every question. So there's nothing left for the haters to say except that we were right about Jason Tatum. But it's a small consolation prize. I'm going to take it and run with it. I know what my angle is next year, but I have many L's to take. I think, Wind, it's a wound. I took a hit for sure. I was hit out there on the battlefield. I do think I'm going to make it. I avoided the kill shot.
The medic got to you in time.
Yeah, Corman got to me in time. Like if Jason Tatum won Finals MVP, I wouldn't have come into work today.
But I'd be doing the show by myself.
You actually would have been, but it's okay. I mean, here we are. Everyone gets something. Even the Celtics haters can't complain.
So, do you really think Jaylen Brown is a better player than Jason Tatum?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
Not really. I mean, I think it's close enough that you can make that argument, but it's also, look, I'm doing the thing that everyone hates, which is the personal player agenda stuff. And the actual answer is that it didn't matter for the Celtics, which is good. Yeah. They built a good enough basketball team that question was almost irrelevant as they dominated through the playoffs. So Celtics fans shouldn't have to feel any type of way about that, nor should Tatum. But I mean, I'm going to. Yeah. But I will say, man, everyone said Jason Kidd was trolling. I mean, Jaylen Brown won both of those MVPs. That's not nothing. That's not nothing.
Jason Kidd was just speaking facts.
But
that's funny.
Tatum, it wasn't a complete no-show. He's held to higher standards because he's been first-team All-NBA before, because he's been heralded as one of the best American players. He didn't dominate, but he did find a way to play winning basketball by the end of it, all jokes aside. So, they're in a good place where they don't really have to worry about the answer to that question, and I can acknowledge that.
I think the answer is both are very good.
Yeah.
And, in the end, they complemented each other very well. And, I mean, if you just look at the numbers, Jaylen Brown, 21 points. This is in the finals. 5.5 rebounds, 5 assists, 44% from the field, 23% from 3. Tatum, 22 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 39% from the floor, 26% from 3.
Yeah. Tatum did a lot of things right.
And then Tatum has the 36 assists to 16 turnovers. That was big. I mean, 36 assists for Jason Tatum, by far the most on the Celtics. he was good. I still think Tatum's the better player, but like they were really good together. And the moral of the story, I think, is throughout the playoffs, the team whose big two played the best won in the end. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown outplayed Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving.
That is true.
Just like Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving outplayed Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. And that is how the playoffs were kind of written. And I mean, if you look back on the Nuggets playoff run, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, they kind of got outplayed by Anthony Edwards and, Rudy Gobert or Karl Towns, whoever you want to throw in there.
I think that's fair. And then what what made it overkill is that the Celtics, I mean, no one's more complete 1 through 8 than the Boston Celtics. Beyond their best two, the next three are very good. There are a couple of very good role players off the bench. They don't have a player who's as good as Jokic or even close to it, but they're more complete 1 through 8 than anyone else. And so even when Tatum was struggling, Drew Holiday had moments. Porzingis, even in game 1 before he went down, had a moment.
They didn't even need Porzingis in the playoffs.
They didn't even need him. Derek White
Nobody's talking about that.
Elite. Al Horford finally gets his, and he deserves it, even though I hate it. So they were a very, very complete team to the point where as long as any two guys were playing well enough, they had a shot. So that's, I mean, really the biggest winner of the entire NBA, I think, right now is Brad Stevens, who just did the damn thing, man. Like he built an amazing roster. And the truth is, for all the hypotheticals about Denver or whoever else, no one came close. No one came close.
I mean, it's going to go down as a pretty historic season for the Celtics.
Yeah,
They went 64-18 in the regular season. Massive point differential. Then 16-3 in the playoffs. That's one of the most dominant seasons we've seen in a long time.
It is dominant. It is. So even
probably
if you
since one of those Warriors years.
So even if you point out, the path they had, which is fair, we can keep it real on both sides. It was hardly the gauntlet that they ran. But what are they supposed to do other than dominate? And they did.
Yeah.
So they answered all the questions.
And I was thinking about what it's going to look like next year because the Celtics probably have a better chance to repeat than even the Nuggets had coming off their championship run. And look, I'm sure they're bringing back the same team in a similar way to the Nuggets did. Maybe they'll lose a guy here or there, but they've got everybody under contract. Like they're still going to have their top 6, it seems like. And also, I rag on the Eastern Conference a lot. The Celtics, I thought, were good all year. It was just more so that the rest of the East really sucked compared to like those same teams in the West. I still stand by that. But the East is probably going to be a little better next year. Maybe Philly gets Paul George. The Knicks are better. Maybe you can talk yourself into the Bucks being better.
Maybe guys stay healthy, which was big out there.
Yeah, maybe Joel Embiid plays 65 games. I don't know. Probably not. But the Eastern Conference as a whole is just going to be so much worse than the West, where you've got to give the Celtics a really good chance to be back and repeat. And, I mean, they're going to be there for a while. So
I agree, man.
They're a beast right now.
On the same note, because I don't want to go revisionist on West versus East. The East was terrible, with the exception of the Celtics, who were the best team in the league. But the West should honestly be ashamed that Dallas made it through. They really should. I think Denver should feel that way. I think Minnesota should feel that way. I'll give OKC a break because we told them all year they were too young, and then they were too young. And so what are they? Look, it's not. I don't think it was their responsibility to stop Dallas from getting through per se, but one of Denver or Minnesota had to, and they didn't. And I think they should be a little embarrassed because as well as Dallas played to get there, they did not look even close to ready for the finals. I don't even just mean the Celtics. I mean the finals. They looked a hot mess to me, and maybe I should give the Celtics more credit for causing that. But I by the end of the finals, I just thought, yeah, Denver better win the West next year, man. They better figure it out.
So do you think the Nuggets would have beaten the Celtics if they got past the Mavs, first of all, and then to the finals? How do you think a Nuggets-Celtics finals this year would have gone?
I think Boston probably would have won it in 6 or 7 because Denver looked far from the best versions of themselves. They looked tired. Murray looked terrible. Porter fell off a cliff in the final 4 games. And I don't think And like guys like Aaron Gordon, KCP, who make all the little winning plays, they stopped boxing out. They just looked exhausted. Which, by the way, is a criticism. It's not an excuse. They just didn't. They weren't able to. I think the better conversation is even more hypothetical, which is I think last year's Nuggets team playing this year's Celtics team would be an amazing finals.
Yeah.
I think that's the conversation I'm more interested in. I do think Denver, even as it stood, even as things were, could have probably presented a better matchup, different problems than Dallas did.
For sure.
But the reality is, I'm going to be realistic about a team that lost in the second round, blew a 20-point lead in Game 7. I'm not going to give them too much hypothetical credit when they just didn't get the job done.
Yeah. I don't think the Nuggets would have beaten the Celtics this year.
Yeah.
I have a hard time seeing that. And it just goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Jaylen Brown is the best number 2 option in the league right now, maybe. He was a better number 2 option than Jamal Murray in the playoffs by a wide margin. And that's probably what it would have come down to. I don't even know if the Nuggets would have beaten the Mavs, to be honest. I really think Denver was just so out of gas that like it would have been a close series against Dallas, but I don't even know. I can't even say with a ton of confidence they would have won that one.
Funny thing about today's NBA is which Dallas are you getting and which Denver are you getting? Because as good as the Celtics were, in terms of controllable factors, my God, did Dallas look like a different team from the Western Conference Finals to the Finals. All those role players we were falling all over ourselves for weren't very good. So, yeah, looking at Dallas in the last 5 games, they look very, very beatable. They looked real damn good against the Wolves. So I kind of understand your point. I would have liked to see it.
I would have liked to see it,
would have liked them to not blow a 20-point lead in Game 7. Matchups are important. The Wolves were the worst matchup. But I can also keep it real about what felt and looked like it was missing compared to last year's team 2 years ago now. And they weren't the best versions of themselves. They just weren't.
All right, let's hit a break. Zach Edey on the other side. Is he a fit for the Nuggets? 7'4" center out of Purdue. Also, I saw a definitely fake, but probably not true Nuggets rumor about KCP on the internet.
Oh, I saw that too. Hell yeah.
We'll get to that in a second.
Oh, man, I thought you were going to go first because that's our usual order, but you're hosting. So
I can go first. Vestibule.
There we go.
Vestibule is awesome. As sports fans, we've all had the thought with Vestibule, what if you could buy stock in athletes? With Vestibule, you can do that.
Derek White, is it too late?
Dude, I would buy all the Derek White
Every
stock.
single one.
It's probably super high now. Probably not a great buy.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point. You can do that with Vestibule. The first athlete they're launching, a Denver Bronco, Baron Browning, outside linebacker for the Broncos, one of the most explosive and dominant young pass rushers in the league. He's in his rookie contract, heading for what could be a great contract extension. Now is the time to invest. You don't want to miss out on this guy. So Baron's IPO live right now on the Vestibule app. You can download it with the QR code right there on your screen. Shares are available for purchase, but they're limited. So go download the Vestibule app now and invest. Baron Browning. I'd buy Derek White. I'd even buy Drew Holiday. It feels like whatever team Drew Holiday's on just wins the championship.
Yeah, I probably should stop hating on him because he's awesome.
Check out Vestibule today.
You can also still be playing at Bet365 where it's never ordinary, even if you're interested in basketball bets. Sure, the games are over, but what about futures, right? We're already thinking about, will the Nuggets restore balance, restore order in the West? How ready are the Celtics to win? How different could the MVP picture look? You could hop on all of those futures right now. You're also not just limited to basketball. You can place a lot of bets on a lot of different sports at Bet365 where they don't do ordinary. They believe every sport should be epic, and right now new customers can choose between 2 offers when they open an account at Bet365. Use the code DNVR365 to sign up. Deposit $10, and then you can choose between either a bet and get offer, place a bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets, or a first bet safety net offer by placing a bet up to $1,000. And if your qualifying bet loses, you receive a matched refund in bonus bets. You have to be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please do gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, back here on the DNVR Nuggets podcast. We are in the Toyota Lounge. You guys are hanging out in the Toyota chat, the Toyota Lounge. We're driven by your front range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Harrison Wind and Brendan Vogt. Just to go back to would the Nuggets beat the Celtics real quick, the real reason is that I don't think the Nuggets starters could have hung with the Celtics just based on how the Nuggets 2 rounds of the playoffs went.
Sure.
And how their starters just didn't play well.
Right.
Like, that's how this Nuggets team was built. If the Nuggets starters don't play well, they're not going to win. And I just don't know if they would have held up against the Celtics starting 5.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Let's get to this tweet here. I don't know if you saw this pop up on the timeline from NBA Insider GOAT. This is definitely fake.
Yeah.
But he says, look out for some news out of Denver soon. And then he goes on to say, good for Denver, bad for the West. I've never seen this account before. Somebody in the chat, Kay, I don't know if you can do some research. We need to find out if there's any validity, any history of correct sourcing from NBA Insider GOAT.
I'm going to say that the handle doesn't instill a lot of confidence.
These accounts pop up from time to time, though.
This account's been around since 2019. But as I am looking through the past of their tweets, it doesn't seem like they've gotten a lot right.
Do you remember that like Droppin' Dimes account?
Yeah.
That was hitting everything. That was like somebody's barber or something.
That's the thing. I don't even mean to say that these are guesses per se. People do hear like people have personal relationships who aren't newsbreakers. Sometimes you hear stuff, and it can be very fun to do things like make an account called NBA Insider GOAT. Maybe they actually are a aspiring insider reporter, but I do like the idea that someone who's like really all over this makes that account name, you know?
NBA Insider GOAT. Somebody asked KCP extension ? And the NBA Insider GOAT did a clapping hands emoji.
Listen, man, I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't know if anyone should necessarily hop on Bet365 and place any bets because of this tweet, but look, I'm a man in the desert, and that is a drop of rain, and I'll take it.
Man, who is NBA Insider GOAT?
Reach out to us if we're getting this wrong. Yeah, if we're getting this wrong and you want to defend yourself, let me know. Let me know why I should believe you, NBA Insider.
His bio is, don't ask me for sources, I am the source.
Oh, yeah, I'm losing confidence by the second. Someone DM him and just say, look, the DNVR Nuggets guys really want to know. Can you confirm this?
Yeah. Yeah, so we don't know.
I will say, I feel more aggressive about what the Nuggets should be able to do here. Just like, don't you feel like there's a world in which there's a conceivably fat enough 1+1, like the Bruce Brown treatment, where KCP and his agent can convince themselves that he's got another 3-year contract on the other side of that, and Denver can just say, like, what? I can't think. Maybe he wants a longer contract and it's out of your control, right? But let's just talk about a short 1+1 structure,
like a Bruce Brown type of deal.
Is there even a number at that point that's big enough that somehow makes the window worse in the next 2 years than just losing KCP?
Right. Like 2 years, $60 million.
Yeah, sure. Like, why not? Right? Am I getting a little overboard there? Or is
I don't know, man. Like, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but it feels like a Bruce Brown type of deal where, you know, you can go into the second apron for a little bit and then maybe get out of it. Would make sense. Watching the Celtics and how top heavy that team is and how good that starting 5 is. If I'm the Nuggets watching that, I'm bringing KCP back at whatever the cost might be.
Yes.
I'm keeping the starting 5 together no matter what.
Dude, that was my point about the Dallas thing. Watching that, like Denver should just feel like they let that go.
Yeah.
And that it's in their control and it's up to them and they need to just bring him back.
Yeah. What I can say, though, is I do know that the Nuggets have some contingency plans in place if KCP does leave. I do know they're thinking of moves they'll make, guys they might sign if he does leave. And I think any team would do that. You got to prepare for both situations. But I do know that, like, those plans are being formulated about, you know, what moves they would make if he does leave in free agency.
They have to, right? I think that's just due diligence. So, and then it's something that on this show we should think about too, and we should consider. But I also just feel like the more I've thought about this, I can't talk myself into, they can just move on and it's fine. I just don't feel that way. They need him, even though he wasn't very good in the playoffs, by the way.
Right.
He wasn't. But the skill that he provides, I think, is, screen navigation, consistent effort on defense it's not something that's on this roster in abundance at all. And they're at a place in their team building now, which, by the way, did net them a title, that there's really not much point in letting salary walk. It's not money that you can then spend on others at this point.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes you got to overpay to keep a group that's good enough together. And I do think Denver should feel like it's good enough here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. KCP's option is the 29th. It's in 11 days after the draft that happens. I mean, he's going to decline it. Reggie Jackson's option is on the 25th, the day before the draft. So those two events are coming up here. Let's get to Zach Edey. He's the prospect we're looking at today. A backup center, potentially. A big dude. 7'4".
Good Lord, man.
7'11" wingspan. 300 pounds.
That's just the Empire State Building.
A senior out of Purdue.
This is without shoes.
This is without shoes. Just a massive, massive human being. His pros, his strengths, obviously rebounding, post play, rim protection. His weaknesses, quickness, offensive versatility. Is he just a post dude? An interesting guy who's being mocked in the 20s. I feel like he's going to be a guy that a team jumps on, maybe in the lottery. I feel like he could be one of those surprises on draft night. Last season at Purdue, his senior year, 25 points per game, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 2 assists. Shot 62% from the floor. I don't know if you've watched a lot of Zach Edey. What do you think?
I think Zach, there are going to be, as far as drafting him early, all the teams that have lottery picks and into the late teens, I think there are fair questions about just how does that body, like that type of mobility, that type of body, that archetype of player translate into the modern NBA. He is slow. He's not laterally quick. It would be a miracle if he was, by the way. Again, he is the size of a skyscraper, but he's also not quite Shaquille O'Neal either. In terms of how dominant he is. From the Denver perspective, this is a center that you're hoping to develop into a very good and very useful player. And I think one of the most apt points we've hit on this offseason and our chat has hit on with regards to the backup center conversation is whether or not you think they absolutely need to go get one. I think we all have to acknowledge this is not a place where a center develops. They're going to play limited minutes. They're going to be behind the best player in the world. This is not a place where you go out of your way to make sure that the center is the best version of themselves. You're looking for placeholders. You're looking for minute eaters. So I don't know if Denver needs to be devoting resources to like making the backup center a great player over time versus they need to just get one and then figure out what their identity is without Jokic. So Edey in general, I think really impressive in college, but the NBA is kind of a different game and he's a bit slow of foot. And I think there are fair questions about him despite how effective he already is or was at the college level.
I think the argument you could make, though, is that he's more NBA ready than some of the other backup big men we've potentially talked about. Like, he's an older prospect.
Yeah.
He's already pretty refined in terms of just like his post game and whatnot compared to, some of the other big men projected to go middle of the first round. He's probably more NBA ready. That being said, I would stay far away from Zach Edey if I was an NBA team. Like, the risk feels way higher than the reward almost.
Probably depends where you're drafting him and how you slot him in terms of your expectations.
There's also the factor of like, it's going to be a bit of a distraction no matter what team has him, in the same way that a Bull and Isaiah Thomas, some of these fan favorite guys, just become kind of distractions if they're not good enough.
That's a great point.
I could see that happening too. But I do think there's some potential there. Like, I do think there's a chance that he hits and he's good. And, in a bad draft, that could like fill a huge need for you at backup center. But I think the most likely scenario is he's too slow. He's too one-dimensional. He's just kind of, a post-up guy, and that's it. He's not a jump shooter, really. Can he develop that? Maybe. But he's going to come into the league as just a post-up guy. How's he going to be on defense? You're going to have to stick him near the rim. You're going to have to play drop in the pick and roll. There's just like a lot of boxes that you have to check prematurely with him. And it just seems like a big task for a contending team like the Nuggets to take on.
That's kind of what I mean. Like, you probably, if you draft him, want to develop some time and resources to figuring out just how good he is, how you can get the most out of him. And I just don't think that's kind of where Denver is at the backup center position, which is, even if you really, really value it more than I do, and I know many people do, it's just not, that's not what Denver's backup center is. So, but I don't, like, when a guy is that big and was as effective as he was in college, I also understand the people who believe in him saying, like, hey, he's a better player than those question marks seem to suggest. Like, he is already impactful. He is effing huge. But I do think it's fair to say that there are questions in the modern NBA. You have to be so dominant at one of those 2 or 3 skills that you're kind of narrowly sort of funneled into in that archetype.
I mean, so many accomplishments in college for him. 2-time AP Player of the Year, 2-time Wooden Award winner, 2-time Big Ten Player of the Year. Just an absolute beast of a player. Like I said, averaged 25 and 12 last year, 22 and 13 the year before. He dominated most teams. In college last year, Purdue was a great team. They ended up losing in the tournament, but he was very good. I do think a team's gonna jump on him, though.
Yeah, I think so.
He's being mocked like early 20s. One of my predictions for draft night is I bet you a team in the teens takes a chance on him. Maybe it's Toronto. He's Canadian. Maybe it's like a Phoenix who kind of is looking for an answer at center. I just feel like a team's going to talk themselves into him, and the excitement around drafting Zach Edey is going to get somebody. That's my prediction.
The equation changes the later you go in the draft. Very different players, but even look at Porter with his health concerns.
Or like a Lakers.
There's no reason to touch a guy with that many concerns in the lottery. But when you get to the late lottery or all the way up to the 20s or the late teens, the risk is just different. Like, you can just say, this guy is too talented and too potentially effective to not draft here. So someone should. And I guess, like, let's go total thought experiment. If he fell all the way to 28, I mean, you could talk yourself into, like, how many players are...
It'd be really interesting.
How many players are actually good that are left?
Oh, it'd be, like, must-see television. Zach Edey at Summer League?
And maybe you're right. Maybe the best role for him is just like, you're ready to play 10 minutes a night, and it's probably not going to be more than that, but grab some rebounds, block some shots.
Yeah.
I don't love the idea, but I recognize how the scale and the equation changes the deeper into the draft you get.
Yeah. So it's probably a no for me on Edey. I don't think he's a guy the Nuggets are considering either, but they need a center. He's a center projected to go in the first round, but I don't think I see the fit there.
Yeah.
I don't think I do. All right, let's hit another break. Some more roster envy. We can hit that on the other side.
Ripping.
Guys, check out Manscaped today. If you're looking for a gift for somebody, if you're looking for a gift for somebody else, Manscaped, they're already up to the Performance Package 5.0. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. Everything you need to prepare the summer bod. The Performance Package 5.0 comes with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Their 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one, and then a new foil blade. The Performance Package 5.0 also comes with Manscaped Boxers, the Shed Travel Bag, tons of other stuff in there as well. Manscaped's a great product, really is. You can get 20% off plus free shipping with the code Nuggets20 at manscaped.com. 20% off plus free shipping with the code Nuggets20. That's at manscaped.com. They have more products as well. Scrubbers, deodorants, like I said, the boxers, the Shed Travel Bag, tons of different options from Manscaped. Use the code Nuggets20 for 20% off.
The American Raptors are Colorado's only professional rugby team. They're back. You can catch their games on ESPN Plus, and when or if they're home in the near future, you can do it at Infinity Park as well. And this is Rugbyville, USA, baby. A lot of people don't know. Thriving rugby culture right here in our great state of Colorado. And what's even better is our guy Colton Strickler has it all covered for you. There's the weekly DNVR Rugby podcast. You can follow him or the @DNVR_rugby account to keep up with the latest news. Colton's got great one-on-one rugby podcasts if you're trying to learn the game, exclusive interviews with the athletes and coaches if you're already into the game and the team, provides some betting advice on Super Rugby, plus we got swag and ticket giveaways. And Infinity Park is more than just home of the Raptors, it is also the home of some great family fun in the summer. Save the date and come out to Infinity Park in Glendale, Colorado for movie night on Monday, June 24, featuring the Marvels. Gates open at 6 p.m. and the movie starts at 7 p.m. Moviegoers are encouraged to bring their own chairs, blankets, pack coolers with their favorite snacks. You know the deal. Do please leave grills and glass containers at home. For those not bringing food, you should know that on-site food trucks will offer delicious options for purchase. All movie nights in 2024 are free to attend. Don't miss out on this fun, family-friendly event at Infinity Park.
All right, back here on the DNVR Nuggets podcast. We're chilling in the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. You guys hanging out in the Toyota chat. Your chats today delivered by the 2024 4Runner. How would you rank the big men that we've gone over in terms of guys you like the most? We've got Edey, Deron Holmes, Filipowski. Are there any more? Are those the three bigs we've covered?
I think that's what we've covered. I like Holmes the most so far.
Me too.
Just in terms of the way Denver has attempted to utilize this bench in the five. And that I like the mobility. I like the potential perimeter work and the fact that he's also a guy that does roll to the rim sometimes. I feel like there's a lot of, you have to choose one or the other sometimes. Like there are a lot of talented bigs now that are face-up guys and perimeter oriented. There are guys that are only kind of in the paint Goliaths. I think Holmes is potentially a guy that's a bit more versatile than some of the fives we've seen in the past. So if they were looking to draft one, if he fell to 28, I could talk myself into it for sure.
I like Holmes too. Clearly ahead of Edey and Filipowski.
Yeah, for me. Filipowski just seems like a classic for whatever you did in college. How does that work at the next level? How worth it is it?
I think he's going to be good. Is he going to be like good enough to play on the Nuggets? I don't think so. Edey, I think at least has like a higher ceiling than Filipowski.
I mean,
but lower floor probably.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. I mean, it's on one hand, you're like 7'4". How can you pass that up? On the other, it's 2024, and if you don't move well, how well do you fit in?
Yeah. Before we get to roster envy, I'm going to let you cook for a second here. I didn't hear really any quotes from Jaylen Brown, who won Finals MVP. Jason Tatum did get a lot of airtime last night. Did you see some of the quotes he had after the game?
I sure did.
What was going on? Like, this was like a Chat GPT formulated post-game quote barrage.
It really was like an AI just how to celebrate a title.
Him posing with the trophy.
Dude, you're right. Here's what I think has happened. Jason Tatum almost won a finals when? Like 7 years ago? Or almost made a finals? Like almost beat LeBron that year he dunked on. How long ago was that now? 6 years ago? When he dunked on Bron? Whatever. The point is, they've been right on the brink of winning a title for so long.
Do you think he had all this ready to go?
He had too long to think about how he would celebrate a title. And then it came so easily to them that he was like, shit, I didn't even pick one. So he just hit all of them. With the Kanye line, he tried to go Kevin Garnett, didn't quite have the same juice.
This is my favorite one. We did it.
We did it. This
was so fake.
The Kobe photo that we all knew was coming. Listen, this was kind of everything. It just feels like you've played too much 2K, spent too much time online. And
No, that's what this totally is.
Yeah.
This is the guy who's like, all right, whatever I say here is going to be put into a quote graphic. I got to make sure it can all fit.
Totally. To his credit, everything he said was put into a quote graphic.
He knew what was going to happen.
The line he had that I loved and almost had me feeling shameful for all my hate was he said, "Wherever you see me, just call me champ," and that's the right perspective.
Wait, I didn't even see that one. Well, when was that?
I think it was on his Instagram or something or Snapchat. But that one's true, man. That one's true. For whatever people like I have to say, he did do it, as he is so astutely pointed out. They did it. And he is a champion, even if he's not the finals MVP.
I just had to hit on that real quick.
They were terrible. They were terrible, man.
It is almost like a kid who grew up on memes and only
Totally.
knows how to speak in memes.
Oh, 100%.
Like, yeah.
100%.
No, it was like, let me say something that's going to be easily put into a very presentable tweet.
Yeah, and he's been famous for a long time, and since he was like 17, and in these conversations, basically since he was 17. So I'll give him a pass for being corny, but I will admit it was corny, especially when you contrast it with the palpable kind of raw emotion Jamal Murray displayed.
Oh, and just how like organic Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic were after they won it.
Precisely. Even if Jokic's stuff comes off as indifference to you, it's organic.
The job is done. We can go home now. That's exactly how he was feeling.
Oh man, totally. So, listen, man. Even after this title, Tatum's already figuring out how he can get to the Lakers. That's what this is all about. That's what it's always been about.
Well, I mean, he's got to get away from Jaylen Brown.
Listen, does he want
I
to
don't
lead
know
a
if those
team?
guys can coexist.
Does he want to lead a team? There were 2 MVP awards, Kale. They handed out 2 MVP awards in the Eastern Conference Finals and the Finals. The same guy got them, both of them. Wasn't Jason Tatum.
Also, shout out to Derek White, our guy, Colorado kid.
Huge congrats to Derek White. Stop ruining my life now, dude. Fucking stop, man.
He's so freaking good.
Just come play for the Nuggets. Stop,
He is
stop
so
messing
freaking
around.
good, man.
He is unbelievable.
And the fact that he lost half a tooth last night just adds to the Derek White lore. That's so Derek White.
Oh, so Derek. That one looked so bad. The
yeah.
slow-mo
I
on
thought
that.
he was going to get up and his whole front row was going to be knocked out.
Me too. Well,
I thought he
kinda-
got out kind of good with only half a tooth gone.
I can't believe he kept playing. I was like, did he just die?
I
His
mean,
whole
it's
face-
Derek White, bro.
I
Come
know,
on.
exactly.
This is Derek White here.
He led the
The
champions.
grittiest of grit.
No one on the championship team, the dominant 16-3 championship team, blocked more shots in this playoff run than Derek White. I hate this. His destiny is to be Mr. Nugget. I'm sorry. Congratulations on your title. I'm sure it feels like that was your destiny to this point. There is more waiting for you, brother. Come take the mantle. It's yours, and it has been since you were born.
All right. Well, we don't have to talk about the Celtics
Thanks,
anymore.
man. Congratulations to the Boston Celtics.
Let's go to roster envy. We're going division by division. Adam is not here today. There's apparently some big DNVR meeting going on that Adam had to be in.
It's been going on for quite some time.
Yeah, the longest meeting of the year.
I'm very excited for the eventual follow-up meeting. Just
A
kidding.
meeting to talk about the meeting.
That's right. Just to make sure I got all these notes right.
All right, Kale, who are we starting with? The Atlanta Hawks. Ooh, a team
Alrighty.
we've already hit on a bunch here. Bogdan Bogdanovic, obviously, we've hit on
Yes.
him this week already.
Let's talk about this one, though, because I really think with the way that Murray and Porter's value to Denver is higher to them than it is trading, it's hard to upgrade unless you combine them.
Yeah.
I kind of think a player that could severely upgrade the bench, but you need to overpay to get them, is the move I'm in on. And maybe
Yeah.
that's a Bogdan. And I'm not talking Jamal or Porter. I'm talking, can you throw a grotesque amount of picks and one of the young guys on a team that's maybe ready to turn the page? Can he just be the guy that changes the offense off the bench or has added juice off the bench? But that sort of trade, that sort of archetype, like a grotesque overpay for a real 6-man,
Right.
that is something I'm very willing to consider and discuss.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. He's obviously the guy on the Hawks that most fits the Nuggets. I really don't know what Atlanta's appetite's going to be to get rid of him, though. It feels like, considering he had the blow up with Quinn Snyder on the sideline, and like the Hawks gotta mix it up. They can't keep going this direction. They're going nowhere.
There's no way Bogdanovich really wants to be in Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's not the same cultural home run fit for him as it is for other players.
Like, you know how they say Denver feels like a European city?
Yes.
There's no way they're saying that about Atlanta.
No. And they're also just a mess, it feels like a weird place to play right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, they could probably get more elsewhere, or maybe they just want to keep him. But as far as hypothetically, Booth got on the phone and was like, how many picks is too many picks for Bogdan? You know,
Right.
That's something I can consider for sure.
If you guys are new to this segment, we're just going through every team in the league, talking about what players we want on the Nuggets. Bogdanovich, obviously a guy we've talked about a lot. They have a couple centers who it feels like they'll be dangling in trades. Clint Capella, and then they also have Bruno Fernando. Onyeka Okongwu, their backup center. I mean, those guys would be nice to add to Denver's backup front court rotation. Okongwu was kind of a hot name a couple years ago. It feels like his star has diminished a bit. Other than that, I mean, Sadiq Bey, good shooter.
How much would
I don't know if
Capella
anybody
cost?
else really catches my eye. Capella, first round pick.
He'd be a great fit, but like, is he making too much money? Is that too big of a price?
It's a good question. Let me look up what Clint Capella's making.
Also, I didn't realize Bogdan was making quite as much as he was.
$17 million. You can put together salaries to get to Bogdan
Yeah, you can. And
that don't include Michael Porter Jr. Capella's making $22 million. He's probably too
it's
expensive.
much. See, that's the thing about that we found in just this exercise, this hypothetical, like basically every team has a backup center that you'd be like, in theory, yeah, I'd love
Yeah.
it. But then you got to think about how you get them there, and spending too much for a backup center, I do think would be a mistake. Whether, whatever spending too much means, trading or signing or whatever.
Bruno Fernando, interesting guy in a minimum.
Sure.
Anyone?
Whatever. Let's look. Once we get to the minimum guys, how much?
Nothing I love more than talking minimum contracts.
How much worse could it be, than what they've tried? So it's like
Almost Justin Holiday.
almost all of those are in play for me with backup center.
Yeah, DeAndre Hunter's a good player who I think needs a change of scenery, but again, I think is making too much for Denver to really get serious there this year or even the next couple of years. Let's hit a final break. We'll go through the rest
Trae
of this
Young. I'm good. Just
roster envy. I'll pass. I'll pass on Trae Young.
Did we talk about DeJounte Murray?
You want to talk about DeJounte Murray?
Should we talk about DeJounte Murray in the context of this segment?
I don't think we need to. I don't think he's a fit.
All right, cool. We can
I
move on.
think he's bad vibes.
I kind of agree.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's hit a final break. Westera Credit Union, they were founded in 1934 right here in Colorado. They have 9 locations in the Denver metro area. They're all about helping members financially prosper. Education is their thing. They were started by a group of 8 school teachers, so helping others is in their DNA as a member. You see that come through in every interaction. It's all about the local community with these guys. They've also just launched an awesome new product, Smart Money Checking. Meet the checking account designed to help you earn unheard of interest on smaller balances with other great perks. You can earn up to 6% annual percentage yield on your first $2,000 each month. As your balance grows, so does your potential to unlock additional great rates for higher balances. It's the same as saving $120 per year. So check out Westera Credit Union if you like earning money by doing the things you're already doing with your checking account. Visit westeracu.com/smartmoney for more details. Membership eligibility required, insured by NCUA. Restrictions and conditions do apply. Again, check out their Smart Money Checking. Earn up to 6% annual percentage yield on your first $2,000.
Okay, what's that in the sky? Is it a plane? Is it a superhero? Is it... Oh, it's a hawk. It's Red Hawk Roofing. Folks, Colorado has already seen its most damaging hailstorm since 2017 in this hail season, in this young hail season. Red Hawk Roofing was there for you if you were affected. They still are there for you if you haven't gotten around to that. And they want to be there for you going forward here in hail season and with all of your roofing needs, because these fellows are the best roofers in Denver and they're part of the DNVR team. Quality materials, decades of experience, quick response time. Colorado's best estimators and contractors. Huge DNVR supporters, which is fun. Big Nuggets fans. Might be able to tell from the logo there, the color scheme. So those are some guys you can strike up some small talk with as well, which is always fun. Free no obligation roof and property inspections. Free in-depth photo reports for all inspections. And again, they understand that in this industry, this is something you may not know everything about. How the insurance works, how much it should cost, what you're getting for your money. Red Hawk Roofing is really dedicated to making sure you're not being taken advantage of. Their reputation to them is more important than a quick buck. So supporting your local teams also means supporting local businesses like Red Hawk Roofing. If you're looking for a new roof over your home or your business, be sure to check out Red Hawk Roofing at redhawkroofing.com. Call 720-771-8921. Tell them DNVR sent you.
All right, back here on the DNVR Nuggets podcast, chilling in the Toyota Lounge. Harrison, Wind, and Brendan Vogt. We're going with roster envy part 4. I think this is the 4th day we've done it. Hitting all the different teams, seeing what guys we want on the Nuggets. Well, let's go to our next team, Kale. Who do we got?
It's a banger. The
banger?
Charlotte Hornets.
The Charlotte Hornets.
Man.
Hey, man.
Grant Williams.
After PJ Washington's revival in Dallas, maybe the Hornets are just hiding good players in plain sight.
I'm not so sure. As an honorary Dallas fan for the finals, every time PJ Washington put the ball on the floor, I threw my remote. I was like, brother, stop. Drew Holiday is going to pick you. No, he did. That was a trade that helped him get to the finals. And maybe there is something here, right? That bad teams, like role players on bad teams, maybe they're not stars in the making, but maybe they're far more capable role players than they get to look.
Yeah.
So it's always worth looking closely.
All right, I'll start. The clear one here, Vasa Micic.
Yeah, done. I'm in.
He'd
Cool.
be an upgrade at backup point guard. Clear upgrade.
I would take
And
it.
I feel like he should be gettable. It's not like the Hornets want to keep him around, I feel like.
I feel like he should be gettable.
They've got LaMelo Ball, Trey Mann, who's a former first-round pick. They just drafted Nick Smith.
I mean, what's the point of the Charlotte Hornets having Vasa Micic? What is the point? You know?
Yeah.
And in Denver, look, there's some obvious kind of culture vibe stuff there. You got Jokic, got Vasa. Help you become even more of Serbia's team.
I mean, if they just really pop at the Olympics, Micic, Jokic two-man game, I feel like Calvin needs to get on the phone.
Dude, I'm down. Now, just for some sobering kind of reminders,
'Kay.
still a backup point guard and
Yes.
not the best one in the league. 60 games played last year, 7 points per game, 4.4 assists, 43% from the field. But I do think a guy that knows how to play the game.
He was bad in OKC first part of the year, good in Charlotte
Good in
second part of
Charlotte.
the year.
I'm down. I have convinced
I'm so
myself
down.
that I am in for the Flyer for sure.
What about Grant Williams? Everybody in the Toyota chats talking about him.
Yeah, no thanks, man. That was a joke for me up front. He could have a career year and he wouldn't be any less annoying.
For some reason, all Grant Williams' teammates hate him.
Yeah, for some reason.
I don't know what the reason is.
That's enough for me, man. That's enough for me. I think he's also a real hit or miss kind of guy as a role player. So he has great stretches and months sometimes, but he just seems like he's so annoying and he would make us aggressively less cool.
I think Nick Richards is an interesting option. He's their backup center.
I agree.
But they have Mark Williams already, who just seems like he's better and starting. I feel like a team could get Nick Richards for a first-round pick and salary filler. Is he worth that? I don't know. I don't have a real good feel for how good he is. He seems decent. Like, he seems backup center worthy.
Yeah. The only thing is backup centers get worse somehow in Denver, even when they come from places like Charlotte. So I don't know. But I think he's like a second Flyer kind of guy that someone should be interested out there.
Pretty decent.
Almost a double-double last year.
Yeah.
9.7 points, 8 rebounds.
So Seth Curry, who I don't know if he's good anymore. He might not be good.
Yeah.
But every couple of days, I just go through all the guys that you could trade for Zeke Naji
Sure.
and all the guys that it feels like a team would be cool letting go for Zeke Naji. would you just swap Zeke for Seth Curry straight up?
Yes.
Again, I don't know if Seth Curry is any good anymore.
He probably isn't.
He's making like $4 or $5 million.
He shot 35% from 3 last year. So,
like, could he play the Justin Holiday role?
Sure. Why not? Yeah, he could. I mean, look, Seth Curry's a shooter archetype still. He definitely seems like he's fallen off. And
Yeah,
he's
I mean,
older.
he like, again, I think he'd actually be a guy you could trade Zeke for.
I mean, look, Zeke is not very good, and the ship has sailed. So if you can trade Zeke, I'm down for almost any flyer.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else on Charlotte? Probably not.
No, that's probably it for me.
Bertans? Done with him?
Yeah. The thing about roster envy is there's a whole class of guys that it's almost like they were roster envy targets for 3 years, but that it's been a few years now, and these guys have fallen off dramatically. I'm good on Bertans.
Cody Martin. His star's kind of faded.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think he's that good anymore.
I'm good, man.
All right. Let's move on to the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat. It feels like the Heat are in for a big move this summer. Jimmy Butler, there's some noise that they don't want to give him the max deal. The 76ers sound like they do want to give him the max deal. What are they going to do with Tyler Hero? It seems like he's dangled in trade talks every year. What do you think about the Heat?
So, he makes so much money.
Who's that?
Tyler Hero.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Never mind. But I do kind of like the idea of some pop off the bench. Nikola Jovic, who also isn't gettable. I'm in.
I think DeLon Wright's a free agent. You know, he was a buyout guy who all of Nuggets Twitter wanted in Denver. He's an option, I think, for teams as a minimum guy, as, you know, maybe that taxpayer mid-level, the Reggie contract, you know, for teams this summer. He's an interesting one. Defender, tall point guard, decent table setter. Not really a scorer, though. I love the idea of Kevin Love on the Nuggets. I always have.
I do, too. But again, he's also sort of in that category of at some point there's going to be no gas left in the tank, I think.
He was still playing in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. Are you still in on Caleb Martin? I know you were a fan at one point.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He is pretty good.
I like Caleb Martin.
Caleb Martin's actually maybe my pick here.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, other guys, too, that I don't think they'd be able to get.
Haywood Highsmith, I believe he's a free agent. He's in that taxpayer mid-level exception territory, too.
And he just seems like a classic. Comes to Denver and off that with that
You
bench.
got to be careful with Heat guys also. Like Gabe Vincent.
Right.
Because sometimes they leave Miami and they have nothing left.
And everyone that comes off Denver's benches.
That seems like what's going to happen with Haywood Highsmith.
Yeah. You're not going to get the best version of a second unit player in Denver right now, unfortunately.
Yeah. Terry Rozier, could I talk you into him? I think he's making too much money, but
DeLon Wright, Caleb Martin, I think are my answers.
yeah, I'm good with that too. All right, let's move on to the Magic, the Orlando Magic.
Oh, man, it's a shame that Adamares isn't here for this one.
Adams, Orlando Magic, the incredible Franz Wagner, one of his favorite players of all time.
Incredible.
I could talk myself into a couple of guys here. Joe Ingles, interesting. Gary Harris, interesting. Goga Batadze. Everybody seems really high on him.
Yeah, I'm not, but also, again, just about every big is probably better than what they've got.
So I'd be up for a Gary Harris reunion in a 15-minute per game roll off the bench.
Sure. Yeah, I could talk myself into it. I would probably hold my breath for high expectations, high impact, but I could absolutely talk myself into it. Harrison, what about Jonathan Isaac?
He's damn good.
He's damn good. He may never put a full season
damn
together.
Good on paper,
but
can never really play.
As far as the lineup versatility and the defense and the way it would maybe change some of the lineups they can throw out there.
Yeah.
I don't really know about any time in the future, but is there a world in which Jonathan Isaac eventually becomes a cheap flyer and is underrated? I think that's possible. I think that's possible over time.
All right, let's go to our last team here. I believe it is the Washington Wizards. Actually, the Wizards have a bunch of dudes I'm interested in. Denny Avdia, who some team is going to trade for and is going to be good.
Yeah. Corey Kispert,
who's up for a new deal. Lights out shooter. Tyus Jones, good backup point guard. And Kyle Kuzma, who it also feels like is going to be a big trade deadline guy. The Wizards have a roster that is totally in flux.
It's a bizarre roster that when you go through a guy by guy.
Who the hell is Jules Bernard?
But there are guys on this roster that feel
like... Is that a real player, Kale?
These are the rosters from NBA.
Jules Bernard.
I still think this is a weird roster that has a handful of guys that probably have something to contribute to actual rosters, even though this team is very bad.
Rashawn Holmes is on the Wizards. He'd be a nice backup center.
He is. How much is he making right now?
I think a lot.
Tyus Jones?
But probably a buyout guy.
How do you feel about Tyus Jones? Unrestricted free agent.
I like Tyus Jones. You know, I think he'd be an upgrade at backup point guard. Good table setter. Doesn't do anything crazy, but is very solid. Kind of in the Monte Morris type of makeup at backup point guard.
I would, in just a world of pure hypotheticals, I'm a yes on Tyus Jones. I don't know how much he's going to make.
Yeah.
But as an unrestricted free agent here, but I do think that is a player that would make Denver better.
Yeah. All right. Let's hit Super Chats here, and we'll get out of here on this Tuesday. I think we got 2 of them. Let's see what we got here.
Super Chat legend 55555-ish. The real finals MVP ladder. 1, the Bucks. 2, Luka's defense. 3, the Eastern Conference. 4, Derek White. 5, Peyton Pritchard. Hard to argue, dude. Peyton Pritchard taking Vlaco's special teams half-court shot.
And then I heard something, I think it was Simmons' podcast. He's like, yeah, Peyton Pritchard was practicing that shot before the game.
That was a good impression, first of all. Second of all, how much worse can this get for us, dude? I love Vlaco so much. And this crown is taken. I hate to... You know that those were the only shots Peyton Pritchard hit in the NBA Finals?
Really?
I have to double-check that, but I'm 90% sure those are the only shots he hit.
Nice.
Maka Haru. Say we keep KCP. I know I'm reaching in the second round, but draft Nikola Jurisic. We lose KCP, trade for Bogdan Bogdanovic, and draft Johnny Furphy.
A lot of people were talking about a KCP sign and trade. It makes 0 sense to me. Because if you sign KCP, why wouldn't you just keep him?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like Bogdanovic is a better player or fit than KCP, I don't think.
Well, I think he's saying just if you lose him completely, then make a trade of...
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's what he's arguing.
Yeah, I mean, if they could. I don't know if they have the assets, but...
See, I think of Bogdan more as like a pipe dream add to the bench than a replacement for a shooting guard. Does that make sense? Just because just such different players defensively.
Yeah. Nikola Jurisic got a little Chris Middleton to his game. Yeah,
All right, cool.
Look him up. Second rounder. Cool. From Serbia, obviously.
And we finish as we like to finish on this show. Cedric Exquisite gets the last word again. Wind, you're the best DNVR member. One love, bro. And
Thank you,
Vogt, you're number 2. Oh, I can take number 2, man. If 2's good enough for Tatum, it's good enough for me. Love you guys. Brown deserves finals MVP. P.S. Adam, don't hide. We need your take, please.
All right. Thank you, Cedric. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out in the Toyota chat. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Want to plug this real quick. We have a draft party here at the bar next Wednesday night. Live draft show. You can get tickets on the DNVR.com. You can hang out with us, potentially be on the show, and we'll be streaming audio and video downstairs at the bar the whole night. So you can listen to us on the draft show here at the bar. It's going to be a fun night.
Just to flesh out what you get here, it says $12 burger and Brett beer deal there. It's actually just $12 for a ticket. And with the ticket, you're going to get a burger and Brett beer if you want one, a copy of the Golden Era book from last year, our championship book, a tour of the studio, a picture with the fellas, and as Wynn was pointing out, you can watch the draft from down in the bar with live audio and video for the first time while we're up here. So that's just $12 for all of that. Basically just $12 for a meal plus a great time with the fellas. Please do come hang out with us. We're looking forward to it.
It's going to be a fun night. If you're in the area, come on down, hang out. All right, guys, we're out of time today. We'll be back tomorrow. Adam will be back, I believe. We'll all be here. Talk to you guys then.
We all silly like the mayor.